In today's video, we are taking a close look at the heartbreaking case of Ciera Breland, a woman who vanished under mysterious circumstances. The 31-year-old Indiana attorney has been missing since 7:17 p.m. on February 24, 2022, when surveillance video recorded her outside her mother-in-law's residence in Johns Creek. Ciera's loved ones and authorities have continued their tireless work to uncover where she went and what took place. Ciera Locklear was a vibrant and driven woman from Cleveland, Georgia. According to her mother, Lisa Locklear, she was determined and strong-willed because she wanted people to respect her. Following in her mother's footsteps as a secretary, she chose a path in law. Ciera grew up in Georgia and always envisioned living in Atlanta. It was her lifelong goal to settle there. Kelly described her as a true Georgia native. Yet, to realize the dream, Ciera had to step outside the Peach State. After completing her undergraduate studies at the University of Tennessee, she went on to law school at Florida State University. Eventually, Ciera became an attorney focusing on insurance defense. Kelly spoke of her daughter's resilience and forward momentum. She portrayed her as joyful, full of energy, loving, and deeply committed to her profession. Ciera connected with Xavier Breland on Tinder in October 2020. Their romance moved quickly, and just 6 months later, they tied the knot. At that point, Ciera was pregnant. Legal records show that Ciera helped Xavier with court issues related to his ex-wife. Soon after the wedding, the pair relocated to Carmel, Indiana, to begin a fresh life together. Once she landed a position at a law firm, Ciera gave birth to their son, Jackson, late in 2021. On the surface, Xavier and Ciera seemed like an ideal match. However, troubles in their relationship surfaced almost right away after they first met. Ciera's cousin, Shelby Campbell, explained that issues arose between them shortly after their early dates. When Ciera told Xavier she wanted to end contact, he struggled to accept it, convinced he was destined to marry her. Instead, he showed up uninvited at her place and waited by the door. Upon seeing her with someone else, he started sending her alarming texts. Ciera threatened to involve the police if he continued. After 6 months, she gave him another chance, and they married. The two cousins texted each other every day and shared a tight bond. Later, Ciera confided in Shelby about her fears regarding her husband. In one message, she wrote, "Well, I'm really struggling with it. It's hard for me because I love this person and don't want to leave him and our family, but I also feel like his behavior is getting worse instead of improving. I want to know what the future will look like if this is how things are now. He used to feel sorry when he said hurtful things, but now he doesn't even feel remorse for what he did. He says, 'I did this because you made me,' which makes me think he is blaming me." Ciera mentioned that if anything happened to her, her husband would be to blame. Shelby recalls urging Ciera repeatedly to leave him. But Ciera knew that if she decided to go, she would have to plan it carefully. This offers another perspective on the text exchanges between Shelby and Ciera. It's clear Ciera was scared of her husband. Shelby noted that the messages she released were just a fraction of their discussions. Ciera also reached out to police multiple times. Officers were called to her home on several occasions in both Georgia and Indiana. Campbell said that by the time law enforcement arrived, Ciera would have calmed down enough to cover for him. Shelby mentioned that after one such call, a detective even reached out to Ciera's mother, saying he recognized she had been untruthful during the 911 call and that he had seen this pattern many times. He worried that something awful could happen to her. Ciera was preparing to leave her husband, so she set up a hidden bank account and moved funds into it. She was resolute about proceeding. In a text, Ciera wrote that she loved her husband but could no longer stay with him financially or otherwise. The Locklear family, including Kelly and Nick, knew their daughter was facing serious problems. They assured Ciera that if she left Xavier, she could always come home to her safe haven. Ciera's challenging journey to Georgia began when she and Xavier loaded their baby and large dog into her white 2017 Volkswagen Tiguan and drove south for 11 hours. Ciera's relatives say she reached her parents' house on February 19. Her family hadn't seen her since the move to Indiana, so she spent the night with them. Though the trip looked like a short family visit, Ciera ultimately chose not to head back to Indiana, especially since Xavier's mother also resided in Georgia, and Xavier was eager for the visit as well. What he didn't realize was that Ciera had no intention of returning. She confided in her mother that she had come to Georgia to job hunt. She also told her parents she was ending her abusive marriage because things had worsened and she sought a divorce. On Saturday, February 19, Ciera arrived at Nick and Kelly's home in Cleveland, Georgia. She remained with her parents until Sunday. After being separated for so long, they were reunited at last. She expressed that she refused to go back to Indiana and wanted to divorce her husband. On Sunday, February 20, Ciera departed her parents' home to collect her son, Jackson, from her mother-in-law's house in Johns Creek, Georgia, roughly an hour away. Shelby Campbell stated that the last text her cousin sent read, "I'm at Xavier's mom's house. I'm waiting to get Jackson so I can leave because he won't give him to me." At 11:17 p.m. on Monday, February 21, Ciera texted her father, Nick, saying, "I'll be back in the morning if that's okay." Nick responded, "Of course, it's okay. You don't have to ask." Nick said he phoned Ciera the next day when he hadn't heard from her, and she assured him everything was all right. She mentioned feeling a little under the weather. Nick reached out again on Wednesday to check if she was improving, but received no reply. He texted her once more on Thursday, February 24, with no response. By Friday, the Locklear family grew worried as Ciera had gone silent for a while. Then on February 26, Nick got a call from an unfamiliar Indiana number. "I didn't immediately panic because I thought they were still in Georgia," he said. "So I answered, and they identified themselves as police and informed me she was missing." The officer explained that Ciera's husband had reported her missing because she hadn't replied to messages, which was out of character for her. The family was shocked. They assumed she was still in Georgia. "I don't understand why he didn't call anyone to check on her," Shelby Campbell said. "He didn't speak to anyone or inform us about it." After the Carmel police completed their initial steps, Ciera's father called his daughter's phone. Xavier answered. Nick later described the short exchange with his missing daughter's husband. "I told him, 'Xavier, tell me the truth. What's going on? Ciera told me that if anything happened to her, you would be responsible, so just be honest with me.' Xavier then told him to go to hell and hung up." Nick subsequently contacted Xavier's father, who lived next door to Ciera and Xavier in Carmel. "No, I never saw her," the father replied. According to Nick, a press release from the Carmel Police Department in Indiana dated March 2 indicated that Ciera Breland reported Ciera missing on February 26, 2022. During the probe, authorities found video evidence showing Ciera's last sighting on February 24 at 7:17 p.m. She was captured at her mother-in-law's home in Georgia. The official missing person report from the Carmel Police Department observed nothing out of the ordinary in the footage. Ciera left their home in the Brookstone Park neighborhood of Carmel, Indiana, shortly after 1 p.m. on February 25 to walk to a nearby store. Police said she wore a black top and purple shorts that night, despite temperatures hovering around 20 degrees. Ciera never reached the store, and no video captured her entering it. Moreover, she left behind her ID, credit cards, her 5-month-old son, her work phone, and a backup phone. This sparked major alarm. Family members noted she carried a burner phone for emergency contact with them. There was no proof Ciera ever returned to Indiana. She would never depart without notifying her family, and they knew she planned to stay in Georgia. Leaving her 5-month-old son made it even more baffling. Her mother said none of it added up. Kelly Locklear stated that her daughter had shared about severe financial strain in the marriage and that her husband was abusing her and their child to keep her from leaving. She and her husband knew their daughter was gone once police informed them Ciera had vanished without the baby. "She's gone for sure." Kelly said, "That's the first thing my husband said when the police called because Xavier had reported her missing. The officer told him that Ciera had left without taking the baby. She wouldn't even take a shower without the baby or let anyone else watch him," Kelly said. She described Ciera as a devoted mother whose world centered on her child. When their son had a rash, Kelly said Ciera checked on him every hour or two throughout the night. When they heard that, Kelly said, "My husband told them, no, my daughter would never do that. If you're telling me she's missing and the baby isn't with her, then that means my daughter is dead." Kelly said Ciera would never abandon her child. 2 days after Xavier reported Ciera missing, on February 28, 2022, he came home to police at his door. Court documents indicate a gun accidentally went off at a house on Baldwin Lane. Xavier claimed he heard a shot while handling a Christmas tree in the garage and ran out. He then went to a shed, located the gun, and unloaded it. He self-reported the incident by calling police. Officers later found 2 additional firearms in the home. Police did not disclose any direct links between Xavier and Ciera's disappearance, but his criminal background soon emerged. Court records reveal Xavier was convicted of felony theft in 2005. It also raised red flags that Xavier waited until the next day to report his wife missing, despite her supposedly never returning from the store. A few days after the missing person report, Xavier was identified as someone who might have knowledge about his wife's vanishing. He was arrested on an unrelated charge. Police later learned he had an outstanding warrant for aggravated stalking in Coweta County. He was extradited to Georgia to face those charges. Court documents show he hid a tracking device in his daughter's stuffed animal to monitor his ex-wife during a custody battle. After 2 weeks, on a Friday, officers, volunteers, family, and friends of Ciera searched multiple neighborhoods in Johns Creek. Investigators zeroed in on 2 spots along Medlock Bridge Road where they thought Ciera might have gone while in Georgia. In addition to handing out flyers, the Johns Creek Police Department set up digital message boards in 2 spots along Kimmel Bridge Road seeking help. They also worked with electronic billboard companies to display Ciera's photo and details across Metro Atlanta. The family urged anyone who saw the white 2017 Volkswagen Tiguan with Georgia license plate number 5869 Remman to contact police. The vehicle's plate frame featured the name of Florida State University Law School. Police stated that forensic experts inspected the car for evidence before returning it, as Ciera's last confirmed sighting was at her mother-in-law's home in Georgia. Investigators suspected something may have happened there that influenced her movements. Xavier's drive back to Indiana was monitored, but it's possible Ciera was not in the vehicle. Only Xavier was visible exiting the white Volkswagen at gas stations or stores. Further details on Ciera Breland's mother's cooperation have not been disclosed. However, police confirmed search warrants were executed to gather evidence from properties during the inquiry. Investigators in Johns Creek also brought in forensic specialists and cadaver dogs to aid the search. The main goal was to find any potential blood traces, signs of a struggle, or other indicators that could explain what occurred during the couple's time there. Authorities noted that while a K-9 unit was involved, the residential searches yielded no clear scent trails. Specifics about evidence found during the search remain unreleased due to the ongoing nature of the investigation. Investigators obtained video from Ciera Breland's time in jail in March 2022. In the recording, he is seen telling his children that Ciera would not be returning home because someone had taken her. This statement contradicted his earlier account to Carmel police about her disappearance. He told one child, "Someone took my wife." At the end of the call, he added, "You know what it means when you kidnap an adult. She's not coming home." On March 16, 2022, the Hamilton County Jail transferred Xavier to the Coweta County Jail in Georgia on the aggravated stalking charge. He was booked into the regional facility. This case was separate from Ciera's disappearance and dated back to March 2021. The charge involved concealing a tracking device to follow the mother of his child. At the time, the woman had a restraining order against him. Though he was acquitted in August 2022, he was arrested again and sent back to Indiana. This time, the charge was possession of a firearm without a permit as a serious violent felon. At his initial hearing, Breland asked the judge to lower his bond so his mother could afford it. Though prosecutors sought $50,000 bond, the court initially reduced it to $35,000. Breland told the judge, "I just need a chance to get my life back on track." He said he could find work as a truck driver if released. After more review, the judge set the bond at $100,000. Ciera Breland was released after posting bail in February 2023. There were repercussions from this ruling, which we will cover later. He was questioned multiple times about Ciera's disappearance but consistently denied any role. His story stayed consistent: she vanished after heading to the store. Numerous sites have been suggested as potential search areas for clues in Ciera Breland's case. Georgia alone has over 85,000 acres of state parks. The U.S. Department of the Interior manages nearly 2 million acres of land, and there are over 300,000 acres of undeveloped property. Fulton County has 440 acres of parkland. Railroad and utility rights-of-way cover hundreds of thousands of acres, some active and others not. Roughly 15 to 20% of Georgia's 37,219,995,360 acres are vegetated. Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana are also considered, even though Ciera Breland and her husband passed through those states. Lieutenant Gregory Todd Hood of the Johns Creek Police Department stated, "If we knew her last confirmed location with 100% certainty, then we would focus the investigation in that direction." Kelly Locklear said that police have gathered evidence and statements from several states, but they are only pieces of a bigger puzzle because investigators do not yet grasp the complete picture. Items were taken from Xavier's mother's home, as documented in court records from a civil lawsuit where Xavier's mother sued Xavier's sister. As part of the investigation, crime scene technicians removed sections of Xavier's mother's carpet and mattress on April 21, 2022. This comes from records tied to the family's civil matter. Jackson, who was 5 months old at the time, was placed in state custody right after Xavier Breland's arrest on March 1. Nick and Kelly Locklear, Ciera's parents, now have the opportunity to be with the baby and are working to bring him back to Georgia. Over the past year, multiple organized searches have occurred, some targeting specific areas. Despite these efforts, answers about what happened to the new mother remain elusive. While detectives keep piecing together the case, police have stayed active in distributing flyers and using electronic signs to keep awareness high. Police describe Ciera as 5 feet tall, weighing around 120 pounds, with brown hair. She has 3 small tree tattoos on her ring finger. On her left wrist, she has an arrow pointing toward Florida. And on her left rib cage, she has a sunburst tattoo. The couple was driving a white 2017 Volkswagen Tiguan with Georgia license plate number 5869 Remman. The license plate has a frame displaying the name of Florida State University Law School. Police urge anyone who saw Ciera or her vehicle in February to reach out to them. Since Ciera disappeared, the only publicly named person of interest has been Xavier, though he has not been charged. Authorities say they believe he knows what happened to her and that he is the only one who can help them find closure and allow Ciera to rest in peace. Kelly Locklear believes that Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, or Indiana could be possible locations where Ciera's body may be. Hunters and anglers in those states are encouraged to stay vigilant and report anything suspicious to police. Since that time, Ciera's parents have been granted custody of the child. As noted earlier, Xavier Breland was released on bond in a case involving illegal possession of a firearm. A hearing in that case was scheduled for December 28, 2023, but Xavier Breland failed to appear, and his current whereabouts are unknown. His name has once again been placed on an active arrest warrant, and police are stepping up efforts to find him. This recent development makes the already difficult case of Ciera's disappearance even tougher to resolve. Xavier Breland is described as a black man with brown hair and green eyes. He stands 6 feet tall and weighs approximately 160 pounds. The warrant states that the FBI is now assisting in the search for the missing woman, but her body has still not been located. This situation, along with Xavier's recent vanishing, has sparked many lingering questions. Kelly Locklear, Ciera's mother, has publicly stated that she believes Ciera was afraid of Xavier and did not want to return to Indiana with him. With both individuals missing, the case has grown even more pressing. Because Xavier's court hearing related to the gun charge has been postponed multiple times, police and Ciera's family are now calling on the public for help. They are seeking any information that could assist in locating both Xavier and Ciera so investigators can determine what happened when they disappeared. If you found this case intriguing, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the Hidden Cases files. We post crime case videos every night. Until next time, stay sharp, stay vigilant.